Parents and guardians, thank you for taking the time to look at our webinar that we're having. What we're going to talk about today is what to do with our credit deficient student. What does credit deficient mean? Credit deficient means that your son or daughter or your child has failed one or more courses. So what that means is on their semester grades, they have an F on their transcripts. Remember that transcripts are required for graduation and college acceptance. After first semester, all freshman students should have 3.5 credits. So if your son or daughter has failed one course, they're half a credit deficient. The more courses they fail, the more credit deficient they are. So what that means is they have not learned or mastered the skills needed to pass the course. So now they have to retake the course. Also remember that college acceptance, the University of Arizona and most major colleges will only accept 2 credit recovery courses. Also remember that you need a total of 23 credits to graduate from high school. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the difference between 8th grade and high school. Remember, 8th grade was fun years for everybody, but remember that quarter 1 was totaled in 8th grade, and then quarter 2 was also totaled, and then the combined totals were combined. Remember that some classes, some teachers, some courses may not always have been graded for content or mastery. Also remember that promotion from 8th grade to high school is not based on passing the class at all. In high school, it's very different. In high school, it's about mastery of content. So remember that quarter 1 is a running tally and it falls into quarter 2. So if you had difficulties or challenges in quarter 1, those grades stay with you going into quarter 2. Quarter 1 combined with quarter 2 make up your semester grade. Remember, semester grades go on transcripts. That's what colleges see, and that's what other high schools see are those transcripts. Remember that tests are graded for content, they're weighted, and you have to show mastery. Remember that you also get no credit if you have 10 unexcused absences per period. So what does this mean that our student has failed one or more classes? What it means is there's a big challenge. Challenge 1 is the kids have to find a way to master that content. Because of our master schedule and because of our high volume of students, we do not have remedial classes broken into our master schedule. So what does that mean? What that means is your son or daughter, if they failed Algebra 1 semester 1, takes Algebra 2 semester 2. So they don't take that class over again. And remember that all our classes are foundational. So first semester courses are piggybacked and scaffolded onto Algebra 2 courses or the second semester courses. So remember that these are foundational skills that have to be learned. And the assumption is that this content is mastered. So if your son or daughter is missing this content, there is a problem. And remember, the assumption is that they have mastered this. Let's talk about graduation requirements in TUSD and Tucson High. We have 2 different kinds of classes. We have what's called core classes. Core classes are English, math, science, and social studies. Those are required to graduate. We also have elective courses. Elective courses are required to graduate, but they're very different than core courses. So elective courses are going to be fine arts, CTE 1 credit, a PE credit, half a credit in English, and 6.5 electives of your son or daughter's choosing. The core classes have to be passed to graduate high school. So you're talking about 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of science with the lab science, and 2 years of social studies. Now, if your son or daughter wants to go to college, the requirements are very different. So they have what's called the Core 16. So what the University of Arizona requires is they need to know what your son or daughter's core GPA was in English, math, lab science, fine arts, social studies, world history. Also remember, you can only make up 2 courses online. So if your son or daughter has failed 2 courses as a freshman, that's it. So right now, if they failed 3, they cannot qualify to go to one of the 3 major universities in Arizona. So it's really important that you know your son or daughter's GPA. Figuring a GPA is very simple. You get the total number of classes, which is 7, and then you put a numeric number next to the letter grade. So if your son or daughter has a A, that equals 4 points. Then you divide the total number of the 7 classes by 7. That gives you your cumulative GPA. Your core GPA, you just figure in your math, your science, and your English class. That will determine your core GPA. And remember, that's what universities look for. Why are GPAs important? Well, to apply to the University of Arizona, you need to have a 2.5 GPA just to apply and get in. Also remember that paying for college is expensive. Scholarship offers and scholarships, remember, are free money for college, start with a 3.0 GPA. So that's straight B's, okay? Not every student who applies into college or universities get accepted. Remember that there's separate requirements if you want to go into medical schools or law schools. You have to have much higher GPAs, and it's very competitive. Remember, the more competitive the university or more selective the university, the higher GPA required to get in. Also remember that colleges really care about those 16 core classes. They also want to see advanced placement and dual credit courses on a student's transcript. Remember that you need it for sports eligibility. So let's say your son or daughter is a student athlete. If you don't have a minimum 2.3 GPA, they will not qualify for Division I sports. It also determines class ranking and also what kind of careers you can have in the military service. So here's an example of the 16 core classes you need for entry into college. You need 4 years of English, 4 years of math that goes beyond Algebra 2, 3 years of science, 2 years of social studies, 2 years of a foreign language, and 1 year of a fine art. Remember that the foreign language requirement is a requirement to get into college classes. So if your son or daughter is not signing up for this, make sure they have it on their transcripts and they get it in the future. Okay, so what do we do now? I want my son or daughter to get help now. Great, parents, we're excited about that. So we do offer some credit recovery. We only offer it after school though. So if your son or daughter needs a math class, Algebra 1, or geometry, or an English class, these are the teachers that you need to contact. You can contact them by email, but they have to see these teachers before February 18th, because at that point, credit recovery after school is locked out. Remember that it's required that you attend for 30 straight days. These are Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday classes from 3:30 to 5 p.m. So please be aggressive and get on this right away. This is all that we offer for credit recovery this semester. Is summer school a good solution? Well, it depends. If your son or daughter has gaps in their learning or they've had some attendance issues, summer school is probably not the best solution. Remember that summer school is very intensive. What we do is we make up a semester's worth of work, 45 days, into 2 weeks. So this is designed for students that understand the content and can do it at an accelerated rate. Also remember that one summer school session, which is 2 weeks, only makes up half a credit. So if your son or daughter is credit deficient over a credit, you won't be able to make it up all in one summer. So you'll have to attend both summer sessions to make up 1 credit, okay? Now, the other thing about this is these classes fill up very quickly. In fact, when we've done summer school in the past, before school has gone out, all summer school has been filled. Remember that we do offer online courses. So what does that mean? It means that these aren't traditional classes. So remember that these are classes that are not taught by the content teacher. So what does that mean? That means your son or daughter can be taking an Algebra 1 class with someone that's highly qualified in social studies, because they will be getting the content from the computer and from the online learning, which is Ingenuity. This works great if people are computer savvy and the students understand the content. So understand that they are not going to be with a highly qualified teacher for that content area. And this is designed for gaining knowledge at a very rapid rate. Okay, so what's our plan for the future? Our plan for the future is very simple. What we're going to do is we have a school action plan. So what we're going to offer is we're going to offer these credit recovery classes for the core classes for your son or daughter. So if your son or daughter has failed an English class, algebra, and your STEM class, don't worry, we're going to make up those classes next year. The problem is that your son or daughter will not be able to take an elective course because they will be taking their regular sophomore core classes at the same time they'll be making up these courses in a credit recovery. So this is what we're going to offer for you. So even if you sign up for summer school, until we get those transcripts, we're not going to have students take those elective courses, because here at Tucson High, we're about success and we're about the final goal, which is graduation. And that is our critical component. We also encourage students to take AVID and pre-AVID courses, which helps teach study skills and preparation for college. This is very important. But we also need your help, families. So we need you guys to create family action plans. Number one is being on time. Gotta be here. Number two is work ethic. Please remember that your son or daughter is missing gaps in their knowledge. So they're gonna have to work twice as hard to make these up. Also, there's gotta be some effort. They gotta be self-motivated, and sometimes parents, we gotta help them with that. We want positive attitudes. We want positive attitudes to help with this. Also, we need them to do the extra. Remember, it takes a village to raise a child. So we're very committed to your son or daughter learning their content. Remember that we offer conference period every Friday from 8 to 8:40. Maybe at your house, this becomes a non-negotiable. It's very easy for your son or daughter to get a slip of paper signed by a teacher, and you can confirm it with an email later. We offer this every Friday. We also have Badger Power Hour. Please track your son or daughter to make sure they're going to BPH and what teacher they're seeing. We offer tutoring, interventions, and we'll help create action plans. We'll follow up with the students and with you. But we need you to sign up for Parent View. We need you to follow the process with teachers. So if you have a concern or issue with the teacher, please have your son or daughter meet with the teacher. Then we would like for you to email the teacher and then have a conversation with the teacher, either by phone or by email. That's really going to help us creating solutions in the future. Now, how do we change behaviors? Remember, it's not magical. If someone's been struggling in school, it's going to take effort to change those behaviors. So it takes 30 days to learn a new habit. What we're asking is all hands on deck. So parents or guardians, we need you to set time at home to do work. Maybe your son or daughter has lost the privilege of doing their homework in their bedroom. Let's set up the kitchen table or someplace out public where we can view them doing their homework. Let's turn off all electronics. Can't do Instagram and math at the same time, even though kids think they can. Clearly, they've shown they haven't been able to do it. So now, let's get an electronics-free zone for 60 to 90 minutes every night. You can check homework by looking at your Parent View. The cool thing about Parent View is it shows missing assignments, so you know if your son or daughter has turned it in. You can also check attendance by using Parent View as well. Then you can email teachers just to double check. And then the big thing is having those life goals and having those conversations with your son or daughter. That's extremely important. Remember, you're a family and you're working together for those ultimate goals. Creating that family support student helps students learning new patterns. Here's an example of Parent View. So we picked a random student. It shows exactly what their current grade is. It shows how many missing assignments. It also shows attendance. This is a great tool. From this point too, you can notice there are emails right there. So you can email the teacher directly to ask what other supports your son or daughter might need. When you click on one of the links, it shows you missing assignments. It also shows you the weight and the grade of the missing assignment. So this student has turned in everything, and you can see the raw score. And there's one assignment that hasn't been graded yet. This is a perfect example to keep accountability on your son or daughter. If you need a little bit extra support, we have what's called family resource guides. So one of the things that we do is we can help you create an action plan. We have these at school, but you can make one yourself. So basically what happens is this is a SMART goal. It's measurable, it's everyone working together, and it talks about accountability and what to do next. Couple final thoughts. Number one, failure is not an option. We know how the job market is changing. Just look in the paper, just look online. Look at how many jobs require a bachelor's degree or a marketable skill or having a certificate. This is the job market in the 21st century. We want your son or daughter to be able to live the life that they choose. High school is the foundation for that. So having marketable skills and a degree are in high demand. Families, we need to work together to make sure that we have academic success. Now, thank you for listening to this. Part of what we're going to do is this. We have a survey. So the survey passcode is Bucky23. Please type in Bucky23 to the survey passcode. This acknowledges that you've seen this webinar and you won't get any future parent views or emails or phone calls from the school about academic achievement. We need you to fill out the survey and send it back to us. And lastly, if you have any questions, please email me. And next is a list of your son or daughter's counselors. So please feel free to email the counselors and we can create more action plans for you. Again, thank you for your time.